All right, everybody. Sorry, I'm not in the frame yet. Hold on just 2 seconds. Okay. I'm just checking something real quick, everyone. All right, perfect. All right, hey everyone, I'm here. Welcome back for our next East Oaktober day, crazy color day. Still on the whole idea and the concept for doing color studies. We thought it would be fun for everyone to challenge themselves to experiment with using weird colors instead of using primary colors or the conventional normal red, yellow, blue. We thought it would be really fun for you to try to experiment by using an influential painting and then either applying in two different ways. We have one way you can do it is try to accurately connect the colors that you see, or at least create a ratio of harmony in the colors that you see based off of the paint colors that you have. Or, and Evie's gonna be attempting that today. She's gonna be pushing those colors and we'll talk about what those look like. By the way, Evie is with me. So you can step way over here. There she is. And then we have lovely Livia behind the mic and helping us switch today. So how awesome was Livia's painting yesterday? If y'all haven't checked it out, y'all need to go back and watch her paint Albert Thayer's painting. It was amazing. So also, the one that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my crazy color and change the color harmony completely. So the piece that I chose, which if you do the switcher of me, you'll be able to see my reference image. The piece that I chose, it's done during the daytime interior piece, but you can see light coming in from like a kind of a golden hour of the day. And so instead, I'm gonna make it a night scene. And the crazy colors that I'm gonna be using today are gonna be manganese violet. I am going to be using a azure blue made by Sennelier. Love this color for, usually I just use it for water and like seascapes and stuff, but it's a crazy color. So I'm gonna be putting it on my palette today.
Is that like a synthetic azurite?
You know what, I'm not sure.
Beautiful.
It's a lovely color. It's a really lovely color. It's one of Lip King's favorite colors also to use for seascapes. So, and then that's the kind of the original reason I bought it is Pierre, my friend, used to be the ambassador of Sennelier, and he was like, this is a very popular color. I'd love for you to try it. So he gave it to me, and really excited about busting it out today. And then the final color I'm going to be using my crazy color palette day is oxide red. So I usually use oxide red, but when you're pairing it up with these other two colors, that is a very random, crazy assortment of color. So, so that is what I'm going to be working on today. I'm noticing that my palette is all turned wonky on the camera, so I'm going to work on trying to get that right. And while I do, I'm going to put Evie on so that she can show us what her colors are.
Yeah, I'm super excited. My crazy colors are a little extra crazy. I am trying out for the very first time some new colors that I did some research on and have been wanting to play with for a while. The first one, you've probably never seen before. It's actually a new pigment, super funky, orange molybdate. This pigment is actually derived from excess microplastics as kind of like surplus from industrial byproducts. I think the ones that Rudolph uses is from the vinyl industry.
That's wild.
I would have to double check that, but yeah, it's kind of like I've got it on my palette right here. It's super vibrant. It's sort of like vermilion and cad red light. I had a little baby, and it was, yeah, this. Super weird. I'm excited. And my next one is Cinnabar Green. I've never used any Cinnabar pigment before, so I'm excited about that. Chemically, what is it? Cinnabar is actually a manganese derivative. Isn't that right?
You know, I don't know. Yeah.
Somebody out there look that up for me. I'm pretty sure that it's derived from manganese. So chemically, this could be funky. And I'm working on my first mixture, and it already is getting funky, and I will illustrate that in a second. But I'm super excited about this pigment. Let's see. My next one is Purple Ochre, also from Rublev Natural Pigments. It's super, super pretty. It's very like, it's honestly a bit warmer than I anticipated. It's really kind of a pretty deep burgundy color. And as an earth pigment, it should be really fun to play with its opacity. So I'm excited about that. Next one I'm using, this is a color that I hate. So I figured I'd go ahead and use it. It's Prussian Blue. Never use it. Hate this color. Gonna have some fun playing with it. Why not? Crazy color day. And then my last one is Brilliant Yellow Pale from Williamsburg. I actually really like this color. And I actually originally bought it from the store kind of on impulse. They were out of lead tin yellow, and I bought this as kind of a substitute in a pinch. I would say it's not a good substitute for lead tin yellow. However, it is a fun color to play with on its own. So yeah, I'm excited to play with these today. They're really kind of unusual, unconventional colors, and I can already tell they're kind of weird. If you look at my palette, I've mixed up a little bit of the Cinnabar Green with Prussian Blue, the yellow, and a tiny, tiny bit of the orange molybdate. And I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, or how well this is going to turn out, because this is really weird, and I've never had this happen with a paint before. But there's a chemical reaction happening on my palette where it's actually changing color based on how I mix it. So right now you can see it's mixed and it looks kind of like a flat green, but then I go to gather it and it shifts to blue. Do you see that?
Ooh, cool.
I don't know how well that's showing up on camera. This is a thoroughly mixed mixture. And I don't know if it's because these pigments are having a chemical reaction of some sort and separating from themselves, or just what exactly is happening. Do you see this, Louie? It's really weird. Like, honestly, not sure if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Huh. Yeah, never had that happen before.
It'll be a fun thing. We'll say that.
It'll be a fun thing.
Did you mix your phthalo with it?
I put in a little bit of the Prussian Blue.
Oh, the Prussian, I mean? Yeah.
And
it could be just tiny little remnants that were like a microfilm on the bottom of your palette.
I've been mixing this for like 5 minutes. It's like thoroughly mixed, like all here.
So interesting.
Again.
Alyssa is, as
So
for the
weird.
Cinnabar, letting us know it is a dense red mineral, is the principal ore of the metal mercury.
Mercury, not manganese. Thank you.
Mercury, yeah.
Thank you, Alyssa, for looking that up. I knew it was one of the M ones.
That is super interesting though, Evie. I can see it like the slightest bit on camera.
Does it show up? Like, it's thoroughly mixed. It just kind of separates from itself in a really funky way. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
You know, something that to go along with what you're saying, Evie, that I think some people don't think about is that colors. It's not like, you know, like God was like, okay, I'm going to give you paint colors.
Right.
You know, it's like there are synthetic and natural and inorganic and organic molecules, and some of them are very complex, some of them are very simple, and some of them have a very interesting light refraction. And so think about the fact that when we mix them, sometimes the light refractions are changing and shifting a lot. And so that ends up making things change very differently, even though the original color might look very similar. So, and there's some really great TikTok videos that I've seen recently of people mixing up similar colors and finding out that the mixing properties of those might make one very much brown and it might make another one like purple. So depending on what is going on, you know, that can, it's all dealing with light refraction and chemical reaction. So your colors actually can chemically react, and some can resist each other, like oil and water, you know? So like I used to work with watercolors, and there was a red and a green that I would use, and I loved mixing them because they actually resisted each other, and so they'd make like these really interesting combinations of color. So that's something to keep in mind when you're working with paint, and why it's good to like do little mixing swatches for your examples. Is one of those mine, or is those both yours?
The one near you is yours.
Okay,
But
perfect.
you're also welcome to mine. We all
That's
buy the
because
same
Evie
paper
is
towels.
generous. If y'all ever get a chance to meet Evie, just note that she is one of the most generous people you'll ever meet, and so willing to just be helpful and serve, and also a wealth of knowledge, and loves to like do fun research, and you know, she just adds a lot of beautiful color to our group.
Well,
So.
coming from you, Louie, that means a lot, because I would say the exact same thing about you.
Oh, well, thank
Talk
you all
about
around.
generous. I mean,
We have a good group going here.
yeah.
We have some people dropping in to say hi in the comments. We have some familiar faces. We have Judith from Virginia.
Hi,
We have
Judith.
Esteban saying hi.
Hello, hello.
James McCormick. We have Alyssa from Australia. Hello, hello. Let's see. Susie from Southern California. We have, let's see, from Florida, from India, from Massachusetts. We have Joyce from Washington again, and Cove from BC again. Very nice, very nice.
Awesome.
Esteban has a question. What is the name of the painting of the lady in green that Evie is painting?
You know what?
That's a great question.
I was just saying right before we started to go live, is like, oh,
We
I
need to
forgot
get
to
the
like make
titles.
sure I had the titles and the name of the artists. I do have them saved somewhere. I will have to pull it up for you, because at this moment, I'm drawing a blank on both of the names of the artists. So
We'll get those
I will
linked
get
for
back
you.
and get those back to you. And maybe if Tina happens to be listening in, maybe she can like, you know, do a quick, you know, Google search and find out the names of them for us really quick. But yes, they're wonderful paintings, and we have the resources for y'all are online. You just need to, all you have to do is go to our show notes and click to have access to those painting resources, so that you have different ones that you can work from. Or what I always suggest and highly recommend, find one that you love, that you're willing to paint and try, and that would be ideal. But also, the reason we're doing different directions with this setup is we want you to realize that this experiment has a lot of ways a lot of different directions you can go. And so, like for example, I'm going to change up the whole color harmony of mine, but the principles of the painting are still going to hold true. And then Evie is going to do more of a tonal relationship with the colors that she has available, kind of similar to how we did the Zorn palette, to see how relatively accurate in a relative sense of warm and cool and hue to what she is seeing. So note that you can try two different ways. All right. So now that I have my colors down, I'm going to first just do a bit of drawing to kind of like just get a lay of the land here. Nothing crazy, just something quick to show where things are going to go here and there.
Harriet is leaving a helpful comment. Natural Pigments website says their orange molybdate is a brilliant orange pigment made by co-precipitation of lead chromate and lead molybdate.
There you go.
Nice. Yeah, I think they specify that on the pigments here. I don't know if you can read this on camera. PR 104, lead chrome molybdate. But I did read somewhere that it was like a byproduct of the vinyl industry. So yeah, I'll have to do more research on that.
Maybe that's how they come across it.
Yeah.
This is apparently pretty decently toxic, so yeah, fun.
If lead white wasn't enough for you.
Right.
Yeah, if you had lead and cadmium both. Yeah, painting can be a daunting endeavor when it comes to toxic heavy metals. However, there are alternatives for people who may have any fear of that kind of thing. And so keep that in mind, that there are options for you if that is fearful for you.
And for folks who might be a little intimidated by that, companies by law are required to provide the MSDS sheets for their products, and you can typically download those straight from their websites. Material safety data sheets.
Cool.
That will discuss exactly what is in your paint and what can hurt you and what is clinically safe. So that's a great resource that everyone concerned should go check out.
Thank you for the helpful information. I feel like my knowledge of paint and what paint is made of is a bit lacking, so that's something I want to check out.
I am like, I don't know, from my time in lockdown, in quarantine in like 2020, 2021, I got really interested and nerdy about learning more about pigments as like a way of going outside and going hiking and gathering my own pigments from stones and minerals and botanicals and synthesizing my own lake pigments. Kind of as like a bored hobby and two, like a way of sort of reconnecting with nature a little bit. And it's really, really fascinating the way that colors can be derived from the world around us, and they're all around us. So yeah, I think in a couple of months I'm actually going to be heading a lecture here about that. So if you want to be a pigment nerd with me, then that's for you. I think I'm blanking on the author's name, but kind of going back to what Louis was saying about color, organic, inorganic, synthetic, natural color interacting and behaving in unexpected ways. In maybe not necessarily paint making historically, but in ink making, there's a philosophy of color actually being a living thing. And I think that's just really beautiful. The way that different chemicals can react to one another, the way that chemicals can react to the air and oxidize, and oxidation changes the colors we see. And also taking that sort of philosophy in our perspective of art history as we know it, and understanding that what we see today is not necessarily what was always seen.
Yep.
Yeah. You can tell I really hate color. It's like so boring.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross. I feel like your curiosity is like where that leads you is always very interesting, because I wouldn't necessarily think of synthesizing my own pigments, but that's very cool. We have some comments. We have Amira saying, I also had to make my own lake pigments while in lockdown without knowing really much about it. Some paintings are still in superb condition.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah,
Awesome.
if you want to post any of that to the Discord,
Oh,
I
that would be
honestly
cool,
would
yeah.
love to see that.
We-
Absolutely.
We do also have a couple questions regarding colors. Esteban says, can I use red or cadmium red instead of cadmium orange? And James contributed, I don't have cad orange, mixing cad red and cad yellow.
Yeah.
Totally kosher.
Yep. The whole goal of this is not to use our colors, but to be able to use the colors that are there. I tried to make very adamant. I hope it came across that these are just suggestions if you don't know where to start. Every color is totally okay. I would just say try to give yourself 3 colors that have enough separation that you might be able to do. You know, if you did an orange and orange and an orange, it's like that's still okay as long as one's a warmer orange and one's a cooler orange and one's like a lighter color and one's a darker one, you know. So anything's, there's a lot that's possible. Just keep in mind that, you know, it just depends on what you want your painting to come out to look like.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why I chose these, albeit beautiful, but honestly kind of obscure, ridiculous colors is to sort of help illustrate that it doesn't really necessarily matter what you have on hand. You know, you can throw what you've got on your palette and make it work. So yeah, by all means, use what you've got and explore and play. Because I think honestly, that's what using crazy colors is kind of all about.
Yeah, definitely. It's so fun to see your 2 choices today with the crazy colors you got going, and it would be equally as interesting if the audience wants to share any crazy colors they're using today as well.
That's right. Now, like I said before, what I'm planning on doing is seeing if I can make this into a night scene. So, so what we're going to try to do, what our attempt is I'm going to make the light coming through a bit of moonlight instead of sunlight. And then everything else has to fit in accordingly to that. So first I'm going to do is just mix a few comparison notes here on my palette. So, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to have y'all, I have a feed to look at what is on the screen so I can make sure everyone can see what I'm working on here. So this is going to be sort of my moon color that I'm mixing here. And it's also going to be one of my more chromatic colors in the painting. It's going to dictate everything else. So now that I kind of have that color down, and that's just what I'm thinking at this moment, I'm going to put it aside and see if I can make some relationships happen with it.
I might regret this decision later. But I think I'm actually going to try not, sorry, excuse me. I'm going to try not to use white or black, instead using my yellow and Prussian blue.
Which I love.
I might regret that. We'll see how that goes. I don't know why I feel like I'm losing my voice a little bit.
As just a starting color, that background you're laying in is so pretty already.
It's so funky.
It's such a good color.
Super funky. I honestly, I feel like as an artist, it's kind of like funny to ask like, oh, what's your favorite color? I don't know. I love all colors for the most part. I definitely have a least favorite color.
Which one is that?
Navy blue. Can't stand it. And Prussian blue happens to be pretty damn close to that. So, yeah, I think this is me facing my fear of blues today a little bit. Vis-a-vis lots of greens. And, you know, honestly, it is going to be kind of yummy, I think. But, yeah, definitely funky.
Definitely. Esteban says he is doing the lady in green as well.
Yay!
So you have a companion in that.
Well, Esteban, I would love to see how your painting comes out. That's exciting.
James says we have good suggestions. He's doing orange and violet.
Ooh, yeah.
We have a couple people in the comments shouting out Todd Casey's book, The Color Handbook, which is a great one. I've only skimmed through it, but I know that is kind of been hailed as like a brilliant book in terms of color. Todd Casey.
Is that one on the shelf in the next room?
It is.
Let's see, Jer says, hello everybody. I made it to the live today. I've been having a lot of fun with the color studies, still working on the primaries. I'm a little bit of a slow painter, gotta work on time management. And something we all need to work on, I think. No, you're not alone in that.
True, no judgment there.
I think all painting is an exercise in time management at the end of the day.
Yep. Even these little exercises, because it'd be so easy for time to run away with you, and I definitely have had time run away with me.
True. I never think that I've done a painting and thought to myself, I should have took longer with that.
Yeah. All right, so going with the theme of what I usually do, which is largest colors first. And I'm warming up this darker color that will represent the part of the wall that's not in moonlight. And I need it to be warm enough to where the moonlight itself is feeling strongly in as something coming cool from the window. So now remember, this is not something that I do typically. I'm facing my fears with everyone. So I'm welcoming all who want to attend this world. Okay, so one of the things you can do when you're doing these colors is kind of put them next to each other and see, if I were to have a pile of moonlight, does that look like it's going to work well with that color? So I'm going to just lighten this up because this is a relatively light painting. I'm still going to keep the brightness to a degree in the painting. Brightness isn't what makes a painting feel like it's moonlight or sunlight, typically. It's more about the relationship of compression and tonality and an overall cool nature to the painting that gives it a bit more of a feeling of a moonlit scene. All right, we're going to try with that first, and then I'll add more piles of that if that seems to be working really well.
Louis definitely helped to shepherd me through navigating sort of the mechanics of moonlight with one of my recent paintings. Y'all are in good hands. Moonlight's tricky.
Moonlight is tricky. Can be tricky. One way that I've seen people and the old masters sometimes would do this is they would actually paint the scene in the day, and then they would just put like something similar to ultramarine, glaze it over top of it, and that would help create a tonality, sort of a cool tonality to the whole thing. So there's more than one way to skin that cat, but and I know a couple people that do it that way. Like, for example, Mark Maggiore, his night scenes are done that way. Because I was talking to him at dinner one time about it. And that's what he was saying, how he liked to approach those. So that's fun.
I'm finding there's almost like a borderline like pearlescent thing happening in the background here. For those who have this reference pulled up. Sorry, I don't know what is going on with my voice.
It's the camera. It brings out the frogs in all of us.
I actually did quit smoking, I promise.
I
Today is, what is it? I think today is, I have an app that I keep track. Day 112.
That deserves a round of applause.
Woohoo! Oh, how do I know which one is which?
Don't ask me.
It's up on the monitor up there. There it is.
For those of y'all who tuned in the other day, y'all saw my big whoopsie with the sound effects.
Oh, I told Evie it is my favorite moment in all of East Oaks live stream history. It was so great. So great.
And I don't know if, Sam, if you're out there tuning in today, I'm really, really sorry I messed up your applause. We are sincerely, extremely, extremely excited and thrilled that you're going to be joining us here.
Yes, we are looking forward to the day.
Sure you hadn't had any hexes put on you today or anything, right, Evie?
Let's hope not. I have been listening to some kind of witchy occult podcasts though lately in the studio. Who knows?
Well, it is the season, I just want to make sure,
Oh, exactly.
I
I actually did a tarot reading for myself last night for first time in a while.
Was it positive?
It was, yeah. I got, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. I did a really simple 3-card pull. I like to do like really easy, quick past, present, future readings. And I got, I think it was the 7 of Wands, and then the Lovers and the World in reverse. And given that I went over my wedding contract last night with my fiance, I feel like that is kind of appropriate.
There you go.
Nice.
All right, now that I feel like that's at least a good color to start with, I'm going to mix more of it.
Esteban says bravo, I think, in regards to quitting smoking.
Oh, thank you.
That is a hard challenge, and commend anyone who's had to go through that and is doing it so well.
It is not easy. It's not my first time trying. I would say it's the first time that I've tried and actually like really, really wanted it for myself. So for anybody out there that's, maybe facing a similar challenge, you're not alone. And it is well worth it.
Cove was asking for some clarification about today's challenge. They say, is the goal for today just to use secondary colors with white and black?
No, it can be, but that the goal is more to use unconventional colors that you're not used to using and try to make a different painting with it. And then like there's different ways you can do it. So it's like sometimes I'm scared I'm giving people too much liberty and options because sometimes it's hard for them to know what we're trying to say. But it's basically you have a couple of options available. One, you can try different colors that you're not used to using to see if you can achieve the same color relationships in a painting, kind of similar to how we did the Zorn palette and pushed the primary colors, or pushing the chroma in the Zorn palette. Or you can take these colors and make a completely different colored painting off of the reference that you're using. So 2 different directions, 2 different things you can do. And that's just to help give you options. So that's why Evie's doing it one way and I'm doing it another. So I'm making a night scene using these crazy colors because my colors they're crazy. I mean, this is oxide red, cobalt or manganese violet, and then azure blue with black and white. And, and I'm trying to use these to make more of a night scene piece.
Beautiful, beautiful. We have, let's see, Harriet is chiming in. I think this might be in regards to the painting Evie is doing. Harold Knight, Laura Johnson, age 14. This is the Lady in Green painting.
Thank you.
Thank you for looking that up for us. I know that the painter of this one is an Impressionist painter, and I believe lived between the turn of the century to mid-century, if I'm not mistaken. And he has one of a girl at the Philadelphia Museum that I've seen before that's got a really beautiful dappled light. I think kind of maybe in a similar scene as this, meaning it might have been the same environment, just her by the window that is projecting the light on this one. So, anyway, but he makes beautiful, harmonious relationships in his color.
We have another comment from Susan. She says, hi, lives in Bucks County. And she says, the studio wall by Daniel Garber. Is that the painting, or maybe it's painting she's doing?
I think that might be it.
That might be the painting you're working on.
Yeah, I think that might be
Nice.
it.
People in the comments helping us out.
Yay.
Thanks, everybody.
That's what community is all about. That's why everyone needs to be a part of the Discord. It's because good conversations are being had for those very reasons. They can help you find resources too.
Definitely. Everybody do check out that Discord channel. Cove says, thank you for answering the question about the secondary colors.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. And then we have another question. Sometimes soft light source isn't available. Any tips on how to paint to make it appear soft instead of harsh, technically?
You can make the values closer together. Instead of making them really high contrasted with the shadow and light, you can make the shadow and light values much closer in relationship, and that will make it a softer feeling painting. Also, softer edges will help it not feel like harsh light. So by softening the shadows and making the shadows have a bit more of an umbra to them, or a penumbra, it will help by doing the same thing.
Good. Thank you for that. We have Leo saying hi from Argentina.
Hi, Leo. All right. Oh yeah, this is going to be so much fun. I feel like I keep saying that every day, though. It's starting to become boring that I'm like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun.
God, you're so sick of having fun.
Yes.
You poor thing.
People are probably rolling their eyes being like, well, this is having fun again.
Ugh. We have another person saying hello from India. And then Stephanie with a question. I think this might be a quiz question. Just reviewing. How many drawings did Sargent do? How many drawings Sargent did of that Madame X profile before painting it alla prima? Do you know the answer?
Well, I think I've seen 2, but I don't know the answer specifically.
That's a good one for trivia night.
I don't know, and I feel like I should know. I actually got a really cool book when I was last at the National Portrait Gallery about Madame X. Not the painting, the woman. And I feel like I should know that question, or that answer. I don't. I'd be curious to learn.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing about it.
We have a comment from Amira. Recently, I noticed that the majority of my paintings contain warm colors, and my paintings are warm. Any thoughts? I use Mars Black, Burnt Umber, Cad Red, Cad Orange, Quinacridone Pink, Titanium White.
Yeah, there's no cool aside from black in there.
Well, and even Mars Black is
Is a
not
warm,
the coolest of blacks.
Right.
So,
yeah, go for it.
oh, well, I would just say maybe add some cooler colors to your palette.
And you don't have to have, you don't even have to have blue. Maybe you just make more of a blue, get a more of a bluish black. So try out ivory black, or Livia's been using a chromatic black, right?
Yeah, by Gamblin.
Yeah, and it had a very interesting color relationship that felt cooler, kind of in a greenish hue. Really loved painting with it. Painted with it a few days ago, and it was really nice.
Yeah, I just kind of ended up buying it on a whim because I was at the store and I was interested in experimenting with different blacks and whites, and it just sparked my interest. But I've been liking it. Let's see. We have a question. How do you do color weaving?
Color weaving. So I'm assuming that what he's talking about is more of like weaving with your layers and trying to create a broken color effect. But you know, so I'm assuming that that's what they're talking about, because otherwise I don't know too much about the idea. But conceptually, like people who talk about like basket weaving their brush work together and creating those relationships is usually an indirect way of painting, where you paint impasto underneath, let it dry, and then you will go back with a complementary color or a color that is broken in nature to help make the color more accurate, but then creates more of a vibration with the color itself. So if that's what you're talking about, the best, one of the ways that you can achieve that is by creating thick layers underneath. And you know, some people use like Galkid to help that happen because it dries quickly, and using Venetian, like a Venetian medium or a Velasquez medium. One creates things called long paint, and one creates things more that are called short paint. But Velasquez, if I remember correctly, is the short paint, and Venetian is the long paint version. So what long and short mean is basically long is more viscous, like honey, that gives it a stringier effect. And then the short paint is more chunky and makes the impasto, is kind of like makes it more pasty in a way, in texture. So, but that if that's what you're talking about, that's what I would say is the way to how to approach that.
Here's a little clarification. By weaving, I mean how Alex does his peaches. One can't tell the exact color of a certain area.
Well, that is how he achieves that. He puts the impasto under painting and tries to get decently accurate. And then when he goes to correct the color on top, after it's dried, he drags the color on top, and it helps. You see the color underneath, and the broken color ends up creating the color with your eye. Good question, though.
This is a good question. How is everybody liking their colors so far?
Actually, I'm really enjoying this so far.
They're quite vibrant already. I was almost expecting it to be more like with the secondary colors, a little more subdued, but you guys are getting good color in there.
Yeah, I need to actually tone down the color a little bit in the shadow to make the moonlight feel more moony.
Yeah, I feel like I'm actually having a bit of trouble, surprisingly, getting enough warmth in certain areas with my colors. But hopefully I can kind of wrangle that in.
Are there any colors you're having a hard time making? Are you finding? Like specifically?
I'm finding it more difficult than I expected to create lighter value, warmer tones. So like, let's see, for instance, like when I take my pale yellow, which is acting as my white today, it has a tendency to kind of cool off really quick with a lot of the other colors I'm using, even with this purple ochre, for instance. And yeah, this orange is just like really crazy. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun though. It's kind of like it's a fun challenge. I'm enjoying it. Like that just turned like kind of a mauve.
Yeah, it's kind of pinky from over here. Such interesting colors today.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that chemistry is confusing.
Yeah, it can be. All right, I'm going to just put a little bit more warmth here down. Keep pushing the warmth up here at the top so that this feels more cool and light source. And just a hint of that orange in there, or that oxide red. Another way to make sure that all your colors are being harmonious with each other is to make sure that every mixture you have has a touch of every color that you have on your palette, especially if it's a limited color palette, because it naturally helps you sync the colors together a little bit better.
Whenever I'm doing that, I always think in my head of like making a quote unquote like master mixture. That's kind of like the mixture that you mix into all of your other mixtures. Can help create kind of like a little cheat sheet for color harmony on your palette.
That's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought about that before. I like it though.
It doesn't always get you where you want to be, but I find that it can really help achieve color harmonies when maybe you're focused on something else. And, you know, your attention's a little split.
Like when you're more focused on drawing or values.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a good tip. I'm going to store that one. Put it right in my brain.
Yeah, put it in that memory bank.
Yeah. Amira is asking, does anyone use AI like DALL-E 3 or Midjourney to create references? I use them all the time due to having a low budget here in Sri Lanka. A photo shoot or hiring a model is seriously expensive.
I have dabbled and I want to do it more. And I have some ideas for it, but I haven't done enough yet, just because I've been, you know, that whole thing called responsibilities that I can't seem to, most all of my learning and experimentation right now has been to make sure that these live streams could get up. And so I wouldn't fall flat on my face with the live streams. But I can't wait to experiment deeper and heavier. And I do think it's a great way to get some fresh ideas. But just like anything, just like photos or anything else, don't have it dictate you. You know, make sure that your vision, have it spark your vision, and then go from there. But don't try to have it as the only dictation. So a lot of people that I've seen do it well, I think, are people who put it then in Procreate and Photoshop and change things even more, you know, and switch color harmonies around and, you know, that kind of thing.
Lewis knows very well how technologically impaired I am, so I have not even thought about attempting.
I've seen images pop up every now and then on Instagram, though, and there's some really cool things people make with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I won't write it off. I think it can be used as a really valuable tool. But I will say, just like with any tool, you don't want to lean too heavily on any one thing.
Use responsibly.
Use responsibly.
Esteban says, I love this exercise. It has taught me a lot. I have been having troubles with mixing that earthy green of the dress with just a bunch of oils. Sometimes I really use I rely too much on other colors.
Yeah, it's a really gorgeous green. It's interesting. It feels interesting trying to mix that green using the same colors as the background, which is shifted quite a bit more towards blue. And it's kind of like, I feel like I have to sort of like hack my brain a little bit. In kind of like forgetting that other colors exist than what I'm working with currently. Yeah, it's funky. This is a funky exercise. I'm digging it.
I'm digging it. It'll be interesting to see the end result. I feel like I can already see the influence of having this strange limited palette, but like in a cool way. Definitely.
The hardest challenge with me is that you're having to think in reverse in one sense. So the light is cool and your shadow is warm, which is just the opposite of what is happening in the painting. But the light also influences more photons to whatever your surface is. So there's opportunity for the chroma to punch up a little bit, even though it's cool. So you have to like think about what is the light side going to look like and what is the dark shadow side going to look like. So, and that's a fun scramble in your brain.
You've had a lot of scrambling this week.
This has been a scrambling week, man. I tell you, I'm having a blast doing it, because I think it's really good for your brain to be challenged heavily. So for that reason, I'm really glad and have enjoyed this. But at the same time, I will say every night I get done and I'm about to crash on the couch because my brain is done.
You used all of it. No more.
Left it all on the table.
Esteban says, since I started painting, I see colors so differently. Sometimes I'm just walking and I see blues where I used to not see them or not be aware of. Purples and blues on trees and so on.
That's awesome.
That's so awesome.
I love that feeling. It's kind of like, I don't know, having a painter superpower.
Yeah, or like you have glasses that allows you to see things you had never seen before.
Where it starts to get creepy and my wife has to stop me is when I'm staring at people thinking the same thing. It's like, oh, they'd make such a great portrait. And I just start staring at them and she's like, Louis, stop. oh, yeah. It's not. I shouldn't be doing that.
Fumble.
We have a question from Arjit. How do you recreate the exact same color the next day? Do you save any mixes? Just any tips on color matching?
If you notice on the bottom of my palette here, I'm going to just tilt it forward for you so you can see it.
Okay.
You see all those gray tones and those sort of beige tones on the right. Those are color swatches for different paintings I'm working on. And then I matched those colors to make a new pile. And they help me kind of get started. And they don't have to be perfect and exact, they just need to be close. It helps me kind of get down the lane.
Thank you. Amira is asking, why do artists use tinted glasses to look at their paintings while working on it?
It could be functioning as a substitution for a black mirror.
Or a red film, which does the same thing as a black mirror. Yeah. So basically, to expound on that a little bit, is you're wanting to like see the relationship of values and to group them better. And when doing so, it would help. It helps to have know those relationships. So I've never seen anyone wear tinted glasses, but I think it's interesting. Okay, we'll go back to...
Having trouble.
Paul Anthony Barker says, hi y'all, Paul and Brenda from South Wales, UK. Thanks, Lewis, for all your hard work setting up the live streams. We learned so much from you guys.
Oh, thank you for saying so, Paul. I appreciate you, and I'm glad y'all are here with us. Makes it worthwhile. Gives me a reason for doing them. Who's having fun? Anybody else having fun yet? Let's do it. Woo!
Woo! Everybody comment.
Let's make a wave. A three-person wave.
The most fun? I think Lewis is having the most fun, but Lewis
Anytime I get to pick up a brush, I'm having fun.
It's a good time here. We have another comment. I once heard Jeremy Lipking say there are only two colors, warm and cool. For someone of amateur standard, how can we simplify color temperature without getting too confused?
Well, the best way to do that is a limited color palette. So if you can just have a warm and cool and a light and dark on your color palette, then you'll be way ahead of the game. So that would be how I say you can totally do it that way. And to a degree, there is a painting style that he's not wrong. And it goes back towards more of a color is relationships. And most of the time to find the relationships, warm and cool is a really great way of doing so. It doesn't mean necessarily that that's fully true, but it most certainly means that most people can benefit from getting, you'll find yourself discovering the color quicker and faster by working on your warm and cool at the beginning stages. And you'll find more harmonious relationships that are outside of what you are observing if you just think about the warm and cool relationship, especially if you're like working with white or something. So like this is a perfect example because I'm changing my painting from a warm and cool to a cool and warm. You know, it's basically just the opposite in order to create the effect I'm going for. I'm trying to create a blue light emphasis versus a yellow light emphasis. And I still could have made it a moonlit scenario and made it not blue light, but it's more conventional and to do it that way. So I'm going kind of with the convention with these crazy colors that I have available. But he's not wrong. I'd only probably say that there's a way to dive deeper in the rabbit hole to that idea. Is anybody else working on any of the paintings? Love to hear what y'all are working on in this challenge. I'm always hesitant to call it a challenge. Like, I love the idea of journey better, but I keep catching myself calling it a challenge because most people call it a challenge, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and challenge kind of implies struggle.
Mm-hmm.
This is an exploration.
There you go.
An exploration. That's what we should call it, East Oaktober exploration. Get in your discovery mode.
Out of Nothing has commented, I picked the green girl. That's what they are working on.
Yay!
We put several green ones up there because we thought it'd be fun for people to try secondary colors as like one of the influences. So we put a few themed ones that were that. But then we put a few violet-y, pinky ones as well.
I think the green one's nice because I feel like green is such a hard color to work with or to balance.
Mm.
I know I struggle with that anyways. Cove says, I'm working on the same one as Evie. Another green girl.
Yay! We're gonna have like a whole green girl army.
Yeah.
Could have a gallery wall just of green girls.
There we go.
James says, I have a 5-minute pen sketch from a Sunday afternoon jazz session. A trumpeter doing it in oil and jazzy colors.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
Little fascinating trivia fact. Be fun to have like a trivia thing at the end, you know, where people can like have like a bingo of like different East Oaks things that we've talked about.
I love
East
it.
Oaks trivia bingo. But fascinating little trivia is that I was trumpet player all the way up through college. And, you know, it was one of those where I took lessons as a kid and always played in some band of sorts. Decent amount of like jazzy bands. I also was like, a whole family was the worship team at our church. So we all played a different instrument there as well. So trumpet is I have a soft spot for trumpet, so, in jazz. Love going to listen to some jazz. We used to have this jazz place called Sea Grace, but sadly COVID killed it. But I was talking to the owner of, there's a restaurant here called Whiskey Kitchen, and he is talking about they might have a music venue for said style.
That place is so good. I haven't been there in a few years.
Yeah.
Maybe I gotta check it out.
You should.
Do more exploring.
Downtown Raleigh, baby.
Extra fun bingo fact. I too was a trumpet player.
I think we've talked about this at one point. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I knew we got along well.
My poor mom,
Oh, yeah. No kidding.
My
God bless him.
my twin brother and I both played trumpet.
No.
At school.
Oh, good
So
grief.
my poor mom had to listen to the two of us practicing together
Goodness.
Oh,
every
no.
day after school. Bless her heart.
See, I played piano, but I had a digital one, so I could just turn the volume down.
Nice. There you go. Yeah, I feel like that's a bit more manageable.
Pro tips for the parents out
Yeah,
there.
there you go. Yep. Yeah, as far as trumpet is concerned, my mom eventually bought me what they call a mute, which you put on the front end of the trumpet. And basically, they use it a lot in like jazz bands and things, but it helps subdue the sound significantly so that she could tolerate it, Because I also, blasted my siblings out too, because we were all homeschooled growing up. So everybody had to bear with me.
Joyce comments, I considered painting the profile green girl, but I couldn't download a bigger image, so I'm working on a girl painting that I started Tuesday.
Cool.
Same theme. We would love to see it. And then we have another comment. Sometimes my colors look chalky, especially in light areas. Is it because of titanium white? Lead white is banned in my country. Some tips on how to counter the chalkiness.
I would say it's fairly likely to be from the titanium white. Yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed. I actually was not aware of the lead ban in Europe and the UK before we started doing these streams this month.
Yeah, it's
Unfortunate.
it's art conservators that fought for it in the U.S. So it is banned for being used in walls and like wall paint and things like that. But there were a few art conservators that went to bat for us to make sure that we could still use it in fine art. It can be that the invasive power, tinting power of titanium that can push that. And the way to combat that is to just use very, very little of it to keep your paints rich, and to use other high chroma colors that are high in value that will allow for your paint colors to stay rich. However, there are other things that cause chalkiness too, which is one of which is the idea that if your painting is dried and you're painting light over dark and you're not painting thick enough, it can make your marks look very chalky. So that is one other way. And the other is a color combination relationship. So no color is chalky if it's the relationship being next to another color that can also do it. And what I would say there is to see if you have a cool next to a cool. And if you have two cools next to each other and it doesn't make sense to the environment of what the setting is, then that can also make it feel chalky. So keep that in mind. And change this slightly more violet, see if I can get a better relationship with these colors. Make it feel more like it's on a moonlit situation. And maybe lighten it up a little bit. Just remember, the value relationships of everything in this painting isn't what dictates it to feel like a night scene. You can use the same value relationships. And there's sometimes in landscapes you can do the same. Now, there are situations where if you have the moon in the painting, where you do have to compress the dark around or push the dark around the moon in order for it to feel like a low lit thing. Otherwise, it's going to feel ambient like the sun. But for the most part, that's one way to achieve that. It'll be interesting when I get this actual person in here. Wondering if I will see any of our live streamers next year at Portrait Society. I also think I might be going to a Oil Painters OPA that's going to be held in Wichita, because I have a dear friend of mine that lives there and I have not visited him. And I was like, you know what, this is a good excuse to go out there for two reasons. One, to start like participating in OPA events, because I just don't do a lot with that. I do more with Portrait Society. So tell me if any of you will be going. It'd be nice to meet you.
Which event is it?
You know, I'm not sure. I think it's one of the regional events. I'm not sure which one, you know, because I know that OPA like does several, and I'm just not familiar enough. I just saw that they made an announcement that they're going to be in Wichita, and I called my buddy up and was like, guess what's happening in Wichita?
Nice.
I'm coming to see you.
That's awesome.
So a lot of people loved The Girl in Green. That's good to know.
It seems popular among the audience. It does look like a fun one to paint.
It's giving me a run for my money. I'll put it that way. We'll see if I can pull this off.
They both look fun to paint, but Lewis, I feel like your painting, there's a lot more subtlety involved. It looks a little bit more challenging.
Yeah. In a way, subtlety can be more challenging. But, you know, I wanted to, the color especially is, I don't know, that kind of challenge excited me. I felt like it would be fun to try that out.
Yeah, there's not really a lot about my painting that's very subtle. But that's okay.
You got those subtleties in the face going. That like warm under the jaw.
Yeah, it's proving to be a little bit difficult getting kind of like the warmth and vibrancy in her skin tone. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm having fun either way.
Lisa is asking, can you please tell us about what happens at the Portrait Society conference? As someone who's never gone.
Oh man, so many things. So there's the International Portrait Competition, which is like one of their main things that they have going on there. And then they have these breakout sessions where people do lectures on everything from like how to work on your business model and new ways to think about making art a business, and how to maybe talk to clients if you do commission work. But they'll also have ones on, I did a lecture on composition and how to light your subject while we were there. It was similar to what I did for everyone on this platform. And so there's all sorts of things like that we do while we're there. And it's a lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun. So I would highly recommend going. In the evenings, you connect with a lot of artists, and it's an opportunity to meet people that you've always wanted to meet, that's kind of like fun and cool too. So, and you'll find out how approachable they are. It's easy to like go and talk to each of them because people are just so nice.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing of like you meet all these artists that you've loved their work for so long, and you idolize them and look up to them and you're inspired by them, and then you meet them and it's just they're just a normal person. It's amazing. I love that. It's so much fun for anybody considering going. Please definitely go. It's so worth it.
Yeah, all the girls here that were here at the time went, and every one of them had such a blast. And most of them, aside from Tina, it was their first time going.
Yeah, I haven't gone yet. I'm excited to go this year, hopefully.
Yeah, it'd be so great.
We have a comment. Face Off and Mystery Sale are some of my favorite events at the
yes.
Portrait Society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won a painting at the mystery sale this past year.
Ah.
Lucky duck. I've entered every year and never gotten anything.
Who did you win a painting from?
Her name, the artist's name is Jessica Lewis. She's a painter. Oh gosh, I want to say in Nashville, Tennessee. I believe that's where she's based out of.
It's a lovely painting.
It's beautiful. It's a color study for a larger piece that she did that actually I was in a show with that piece at Principal Gallery for an OPA exhibition. And I got to see the large piece in person, and that was super, super fun.
That's cool. And you get to own the little version.
Yeah.
Is the mystery sale like a raffle? Is that how it works?
Kind of. Gosh. It's like a number drawing kind of deal, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you kind of throw your name in a hat with other people who want the piece.
It's so chaotic.
It is. It's very chaotic. And they go piece to piece, and they say, okay, we're about to do a drawing for this one. And so everyone throws their name in the hat. And if yours is the only name in the hat, then you win the piece. But otherwise, they make it a drawing, and then you have to stick around. But while you're putting your name in the hat on that one, there's like 20 other booths where people are putting their names. So you have to kind of be strategic, because you might have one that you want in another booth. And so you have to be like, okay, well, I can't get this one. This is my first pick, and then this is my second pick over here. And then, so it's funny because people start getting like strategy of how they want to do it. It's great.
Looking forward to experiencing this.
It's a lot of fun. As is, all of Portrait Society in general. Definitely, for anyone considering going, absolutely you should go.
We have a question. Can you suggest competitions alternative to Portrait Society where the finalists don't have to be present in person? And then second to that, how's the stature of Art Renewal Center?
Well, that was the first one I was going to suggest. Art Renewal Center, I don't think you have to be there. So I'm trying to think. I think what's another one that you don't have to be there? That's a good question. I don't know if I know which ones you have to be there for and which ones you don't. Portrait Painters of Atlanta, Portrait Society of Atlanta. I don't think you have to be there for the awards. You might be able to try that one out.
Do you have to be a resident to participate?
No. Portrait Society of Atlanta is one of the oldest in the U.S., believe it or not, and you do not have to be from. I don't even think you have to be from Georgia. I think it's just whoever wants to participate. I think you can check their criteria.
There's also often a lot of regional exhibitions each year at various places. Maybe that's, less of an awards thing and more of, just a kind of normal show, but still a good option if you're unable to attend in person.
Sue comments, the Portrait Society was great. I met Lewis and won Mary Kwan's 6x9.
That's awesome. Yeah, Sue was so lovely. It was such a pleasure to meet her. I met several people online that had reached out to me at points, and I said, "Hey, if you're going this year, just come by and say hi to me," and they certainly did, and I was so excited about that. I thought that was it's one of my favorite things. As a people person, I thrive getting to meet people that I don't feel like I get to online. So
I was so nervous. I got to meet Casey Childs. Then we ended up in the same elevator together, and I just didn't know what to say. I was like, "Hi."
And then you ended up going to dinner with them, right?
Yeah, and then we all had dinner together and got to know him and some other folks.
He's such a nice guy.
So much fun.
I love Casey. He ended up winning my. He ended up not only winning the my drawing or the 6x9 thing, but the 6x9 was of Evie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
My face is somewhere in his house or studio, I guess.
He owns your face.
Exactly. He owns your face.
Yeah, that was a beautiful little portrait that Louis did of me several months back. I think that was maybe back in the winter time. We were all taking a lot of turns modeling for one another. That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. We should.
We should.
And it was appropriately named. I was actually very happy with the title I gave that, which is The Empath. And it had Evie. It fits Evie so well. Evie definitely is a very empathetic person.
It's true. Perhaps sometimes to a fault.
This world needs more empathy. I don't think there's enough
I agree
of
with
it.
that. Especially these days.
Oh,
Sorry,
wow. Wow. That was wild.
Excuse me. I don't know if I've ever talked about this on camera before, but everybody in the studio knows this, and I'm pretty open about it. I have a connective tissue disorder, so I have many lovely little neck problems. So everybody around the studio has probably gotten used to hearing me crack my neck. Sorry about that. I think honestly though, in some ways painting actually helps alleviate some of my joint issues, just because, you know, standing all day, it's kind of a great reminder to just constantly work on, you know, having good posture and, you know, moving around and taking stretch breaks and whatnot. I'm getting old.
Creeps up on you. Well, I'm assuming everybody at home's screaming at me to say, hey, how about you put some paint on her? Right now, it looks like there's a ghost floating in the room. Well, that's on theme. That tracks.
Spooky.
Yeah.
You know.
You just need some dark eyes.
That's
and
it.
It's complete.
Add a few more little fun notes here and there in this.
Cove says that hair on the green girl is super fun.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just can tell you I have a kind of a love-hate relationship with painting braids. I drove myself crazy several months ago working on a self-portrait from life, and I had a braid in my hair, and so for weeks I had to wear this braid in my hair, and it just about drove me nuts.
Oh.
Like I had to like carefully like move it to be in the same position every day, and you know, after a little while I was just like, why did I do this to myself? What have I done? But it turned into a painting that I was really happy with and proud of, so it was worth the struggle.
That's right.
That's right. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
self-portrait.
It is. It's been gorgeous. And it's been shown at Samagundi, right?
No, it's been
No.
shown at Principal
It's been shown
Gallery.
at Principal Gallery, which still, that's in its own right quite an honor.
Yeah, I got to attend that show in person, which was a lot of fun. I drove up to Alexandria to go see it, and got to meet some other artists, some really great folks. Alexandria is pretty cool. It's gorgeous. All the
Yeah.
old buildings.
Yeah, it really is.
I wish I could have spent more time there. It's really, really nice.
Where is it?
It's like right outside of DC proper,
Ah.
or like downtown Washington, DC. It's like right on the waterfront. Like you can see the water from Principal Gallery.
So my sweet dog Rosie has joined us in the room. I didn't have the door closed enough, so if y'all feel an extra lovely presence in the room through the internet, it is my sweetest dog Rosie, who is the mascot of East Oaks.
And she really is the sweetest dog ever. She's pretty much like solely responsible for me now wanting a dog of my own.
Yep.
She's great.
Yep, she can do that to you. My brother has said the same thing. She's like, you know, I really didn't want a dog until I met Rosie.
Yeah.
She's
And-
so gentle.
Yeah.
She's just a quiet little sweetheart.
Gentle and soulful. She's such a soulful animal. Like,
Yep.
She doesn't,
I don't know. I don't want to get like sappy about your dog, but like, I
No,
totally
you should.
will
You're
anyways.
welcome to get as sappy as
yeah.
you want.
You just look in her eyes and it's like
Yep.
you're
A whole world
looking in
is
her
there.
soul. Yeah.
I read something online a few days ago that said the difference between humans and dogs is dogs can't fake love. And I was like, oh. I was like, you know, it's like this beautiful, sweet dog, like laying its head on its owner, and I was just like, oh, come here, Rosie.
Aww. Yeah, one of these days, Jake and I will get a dog. Although I am pet sitting for a bunch of cats at the moment, so I have many pets in my life at the moment.
And how has it been?
Which is great.
How's it been?
Oh, it's been good.
Okay, good.
They've been, thus far, behaving themselves. So
That's good.
never understood why there's such a polarization of like, oh, are you a dog person or a cat person? It's like, why can't I be both?
Yeah, I just am an
They're
animal
both
person.
great. Yeah.
Judith comments, just want you to know that this has not been about facing my fears, but accepting my failures. I'm doing orange flowers with a little mad face.
Hey, that is equally important, I think.
Yes. Kudos to you.
Yeah. I don't think there's ever been a single painter ever anywhere that can say that they've never failed. It's how we learn.
Failure's baked into success.
There you go. I feel like you always have like a wise little quip about everything.
The other one that my a mentor of mine used to say that I love so much is failure is it's never fatal and rarely final. And I've always loved that.
That's beautiful. Never fatal, rarely final. I'm gonna try to remember that over the next several minutes. Oof. What a strange little painting this is turning into.
You got this.
Oof. I don't know, man.
We have a comment. This is a reminder to mention the Instagram ID of the Art Palette account on Discord, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, dang. Okay. I keep using my phone as one of our cameras, so I don't have my phone to look it up. But yes, I definitely need to get that for you. Okay. I'm now devising a plan to how to get that for you. Tina! No.
It's not like you've been busy or anything.
You're right.
I will do my best to remind you.
Perfect.
How about that?
That's perfect. All right, so I'm going to just put this down. And this part's interesting because the dress is not necessarily picking up the direct moonlight that I'm creating, but it is picking up the outside light. So it's not going to be as chromatic as the back is. So notice that like how chromatic the yellow is in the background where the light's hitting the wall, but not that much on her dress. The same would be true in the opposite way with the moonlight. The moonlight would be hitting the back wall, but the dress is picking up the rest of the outside ambience. And so it's going to be picking up a less chroma version of it.
I just realized I haven't like stepped back from this the entire time I've been painting. But Rosie, lovely, sweet Rosie.
Wait, I got to put Rosie on here on camera for half a second
Yeah.
so everyone can see. So.
You want to say hi? You want to say hi?
Hold on. There we are. There's Rosie, everybody.
Oh,
Yep.
big stretch.
Big stretch.
Wow.
Well,
She knows we're talking about her, I think.
oh my goodness, my camera is low on battery.
Uh-oh. Is it not plugged in?
I thought it was. Let me just check and see.
I'm glad you looked at it.
It's plugged in, so, but if for some reason it's not registering, it's plugged in.
Cove is asking, what is all of your favorite colors to use? All of you guys' favorite colors to use. For me, it's cadmium yellow deep. And Arshit answers trans oxide red. So what about you guys?
Oh gosh, it's hard to pick just one. I'm gonna have to think about that. It might be manganese violet. I need to think on that.
It is a beautiful color.
Come back to you. James says permanent violet for today.
There you go.
What about you, Lewis?
You know, I'm an oxide yellow guy. I really love those, but I love that combination of oxide yellow and manganese together. So that's like one of my favorite combinations. I think it just makes really beautiful mixtures. So I could do a whole painting in just those colors, those two colors with white, because I just think they make a beautiful, harmonious relationship.
Yeah, I think mine, I'm either gonna say manganese violet or Indian yellow. Its tinting strength is just
Yeah.
intense. I love it.
It's interesting, they're quite similar, the two pairs that you pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to pick. I don't know. I'm the kind of girl that's like, I can't go into like a makeup store or like the makeup aisle or anything because I don't care about makeup. I actually, honestly, these days I only ever like really wear makeup for like these live streams. But I can't go into those aisles because all I want is the colors. I don't care about the makeup. It's just the colors. They're so pretty. I'm kind of like that with everything. I don't know. Ever since I was a little kid, my mom used to always tease me growing up, say that I would not be able to get through a day without making something.
That reminds me of being a little kid and going to school and being jealous of the kids who had like the 64 pack crayons or the 128 pack crayons, and it's like,
Yeah.
I only have 12.
The kids that always had those, like anybody that had those like really fancy, expensive Prismacolor pencils as a kid.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Like
I
the
begged my mom for those
twistable ones.
Prismacolor pencils. Eventually got them. And
Eventually,
I was like, yeah! You know,
I think I got them for Christmas one year.
I still have them here, actually.
Ah.
Yep. I mean, I've added, you know, whenever one would go, I used one up, I'd added more to it. But
This conversation makes me want to go get some crayons. Or like
Never underestimate the power of doodling.
Yeah.
I think
Just like
it's great.
those easy school art supplies. It's kind of nice when the supplies aren't as nice because it takes the pressure off to do something great.
Yeah, and it's also like, you know, sure, you can shell out a bunch of money for like really nice, fancy, expensive art supplies, but you can also make something really incredible using just whatever you've got on hand.
Yep.
I think it's really easy to forget that, you know, because we buy art supplies and we make things with them, it's easy to kind of forget about the consumerism that still goes into
Yep.
that process and that market. And yeah, I think it's really, really important for artists to get creative in using whatever they've got on hand and not relying on always having whatever brand name thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not the art supplies that makes the art, it's the artist.
Exactly.
All right, let's see if I can make this happen.
I think to bounce or related to that statement, Arshid is wondering if it's okay to use student grade paint like Winton of Winsor and Newton for quick sketches in Alla Prima.
Totally.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Especially with experiments. The only thing I would say is that sometimes your muscle memory gets used to knowing how to make mixtures, and you might struggle trying to get pure looking colors in some instances. So, but it absolutely is, I think, worth it to try to do the student grade when you're first starting out. So, but I do think you should shift gears pretty quickly afterwards as you feel that you're understanding things and you get out of the realm of just understanding what colors do what. Because later on you don't want to develop bad habits that you can avoid later pretty quickly. So I've worked with people when they've used student grade paints like for workshops, and I could just not get the color that I needed to get for them. And I was like, holy cow, there's a whole thing here that I'm not paying attention to. So that's the only reason I say that is there's a middle grade between those two too that you can get that is helpful.
How is painting the figure going, Lewis?
I'm not going to say it.
I'm having
I'm
so
having
much
so
fun.
much fun. I actually am, though.
I think it's impossible for Lewis to have a bad time when he's painting.
Not when I'm with friends.
Aww.
You got this, Evie.
You got this. The hair is
Stressing.
looking nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to try to emphasize the warm nature of the shadow side of her Komodo. I feel like it looks like a Komodo. I think it is, but I'm not
think
an
it
expert on fashion, but it seems to have that feeling to it.
Looks silky.
Mm-hmm.
Harriet is asking, Lewis, are you doing the shades of the dress in gray blues, or what colors are you using? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm actually using a little bit of blue, the azure blue that I have, but I'm trying to key it more neutral and trying to put this ever so slightest amount of violet into it in order for it to feel like the light's coming from a different, it's not coming from the direct source of the moon. And then I'm warming up the shadow side of things in the kimono to represent the warmth of the shadow, but also the light kind of passing through it just a touch, even though like we're talking about moonlight, so it's not like, you know, crazy intense pass through. But if I can make it a bit more chromatic at the beginning, I can then neutralize it later and make it feel even better and more cohesive. But the one thing about night scenes is that the range of color is more compressed in both hue and in value. Well, it can be in value. In this instance, I think I'm getting away with it, not being too much a value shift. So.
Jer is asking a question regarding surfaces. What is for you the best to paint on, and how do you prime them?
My favorite is to paint on lead alkyd ground made by Rublev. The way I prime it is I usually use a foam roller at the beginning to roll it on, and then after I've done that, I use a brush to kind of scuff it to give it a bit more random texture. And we have a whole toning and priming panel video on our YouTube that we did. Michael's on there doing it, and he shows you a demonstration of how to use that and how to use gesso.
My favorite is actually Golden Brand acrylic gesso. Simply because I have not used a lead ground before. But I find that Golden's acrylic gesso is honestly a really good quality acrylic gesso. And thus far, I've been happy with it. It kind of has ticked all the boxes for me in terms of its like texture and sort of like viscosity and thickness. And it's very easy to manipulate and get the impression of different textures within it, which I like.
That's cool.
I will say my least favorite ground is homemade rabbit skin glue. Really terrible stuff right there.
Absolutely. rabbit skin glue is rough
Nasty.
to play with. I mean, it's fun to say, hey, I did it one time.
Right, yeah.
But
Tell
past
me
that,
about it. Why was it so horrible?
Oh, it stinks to high heaven.
it stinks,
It is
it's
so gross.
sticky, you have to heat it up in a pot, it gets gummy. Yeah, it's
You'll reek for days after. It's so nasty. Like your home will just smell.
Gross.
Yeah, it's fun from the perspective of like learning what artists throughout history had to go through. And also the joy of not having to do that.
yes. It's both. Proud of you for doing it though. It's awesome.
Oof.
Evie is
Yeah.
quite the experimenter. She's a bit of our scientist.
Mad scientist.
Yep.
DIY girl doing it all by herself.
I love a good DIY. It's true. Yeah, I think sometimes in regard to materials, I think it's important to play around like that, you know, and just build a respect and a deeper understanding for the materials that we work with and where they
Mhm.
come from. I think that's incredibly important, not only as an artist, but also just like as a human being, exercising that respect for what we have.
Yep.
I like that.
I am not having fun.
What?
I'm trying to change it up.
Oh.
I was gonna say, I don't believe you.
I thought that you had come across a catastrophe. Something was going horribly wrong.
Nope.
I was concerned.
I was just trying to keep everybody on their toes.
Plot twist.
Because I was thinking in my head how much fun I'm having, and I was like, I can't say it again. So
Nah, you can say it.
I'm having so much fun. You should say it. You know, if you're good, you feel good vibes. You gotta put that into the world. It just creates more goodness.
I'm having so much fun, everybody.
Woo!
Woohoo! Here's a question. We didn't know the name of it, so we probably won't know this either. But do we know the year that the green painting was painted? That might be something for the audience. Another challenge.
Yeah.
Help us out, guys.
You have the title, or they have the title there. Go check and see, because I really don't know.
And then another person is wondering.
Oh
who
my
the
gosh, wait,
painter of the
can I
floor-
interrupt you?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I just want to applaud Louis because
Oh yeah.
for knowing the date of a painting right off the bat. The piece that he painted yesterday, was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
Yep.
Um,
Vermeer's
he
Milkmaid.
guessed just totally random off the top of his head and got it right down to the year.
Down to the year.
Nice.
Yeah.
What year was it, Louis?
1657.
Wow, you just guessed.
I did. I was like, well, let's just like try to guess it, and play like Price is Right, because we were trying to guess the day, or the day, the month.
Yeah, what
the
day
month,
was it painted?
and the year and the second.
What time of day was it finished?
So it was a Tuesday, and it was a rainy day outside.
He signed it in the evening, just as the sun was going over
What
the
was he
horizon.
thinking about?
Yeah. Oh, he was
What did
thinking
he have
about
for lunch that day?
He was thinking, at least my wife's not going to hate me because I don't have her pearl on somebody else's face in this painting. That's what he was thinking.
Did his wife get mad at him for painting?
No,
both
but I
pearl
just
earrings?
know it was his wife's earring for the girl in the pearl earring. So I don't know.
That'd be kind of a funny backstory.
Oh, I mean that's part of the mystery, because it was his wife's earring,
Right.
and they kind of wonder if there was something going on
Ooh.
between them because of that. Because she also has a seductive look on her
The
face.
little girl?
The girl with the pearl earring.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
seductive, is it?
Well, back then it was, because her mouth was open.
Yeah.
That was
That was, like, very
super
Racy
Yeah,
back then.
that is sort of the come hither look. So, how times have changed.
Jer comments, thanks. I think I'm gonna skip the rabbit skin glue then, because I was considering on trying it at some
Oh,
point.
well, yeah. You know what? If you do try it, best of luck to you.
Be
Yeah.
warned.
Just say, you try it for the purpose of having a war story.
Yeah. Open some windows.
Yep.
Did I just get paint on my face?
I don't see it if you did.
Okay, cool. You'd be shocked how often it happens.
It's okay. It's a common occurrence here in a studio.
Oh, Arjit had commented it's 1:30 a.m. here, and I gotta go watch the cricket match tomorrow.
Who's
It's
playing?
the World Cup happening in India this time. So I bid adieu and happy painting, everyone.
Well, have
Good
fun watching your
night.
match.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, that's amazing. And good luck to your team. I hope they win. You know, somebody else that always says like that they're having fun is Scott Burdick. He loves you just see his joy when he's painting, and he always like, this is just so much fun, you know. And I'm inclined to agree with him.
Yeah, watching him paint alongside Suchitra at Portrait Society was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They made a really cool team painting side by side.
Yeah, I had lunch with Chitra later the day the Portrait Society ended with her and Pramod and my mentee, Soumya. And we had so much fun. It was such a lovely lunch. And it was the first time I've really had a chance to have a good, long conversation with her. It was really nice. So I enjoyed
Yeah,
both of
she's
them.
really, I talked to her briefly, but yeah, very sweet. Very earnest.
Mm-hmm. Such a good word.
Ernest.
Descriptive word of her. So, and you have several friends that are from India that you've gone there and visited them, and you keep up with them.
I have, yeah. Yeah, and I actually talked to Pramod about being in India right at the start of the pandemic.
Ooh. Like online or at the Portrait Society, you talked to him about it.
At Portrait Society, yeah. Also very, very sweet guy.
Yes, so nice.
Yeah, right before COVID broke out, my fiance and I went to India for my friend's wedding. And thankfully we got back to the States okay. If we had stayed in India 2 days later than we had, we would have been stranded. We would have been stuck in lockdown. It was really surreal. Beautiful. I cannot wait to go back to India someday. I have never seen such a vibrantly colorful place before. And I mean that both in like the spirit of the people and also physically, like there's just, everything is colorful. Absolutely gorgeous country.
Have you, I think we've talked about this, but you've not read the book Shantaram? If we haven't talked about this,
I have
you
not.
must read the book Shantaram. I think you'd really enjoy it. It's just a novel that's, I think, like very loosely based off of a few true events. Don't know what, don't ask why, what, and I don't know. But there's some events in it that I think influenced the book. But it's basically about this escaped convict from Australia who was, I can't remember if he was like wrongly accused or something, but got out of Australia and then was a fugitive to India and started over again, but became a sort of a medic for people in the slums because he knew first aid. And then it was basically his being sought after by a sort of a mob kingpin in the area. And it's basically about all of his endeavors in India, but the description of India and the culture and the personalities of the people, it's just so lovely and beautiful. And I think you would find it to be, like, it made me want to go to India after reading the book. That's how
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
good it was.
I'm very, very slowly chipping my way through a book called A Fine Balance that is also set in India.
Nice.
What is that one about?
Gosh, kind of a number of different things. It jumps around a bit between several kind of main characters, which I love as kind of like a writing style and plot device. But it largely follows a boy in, is it Calcutta? Or he's from Calcutta. And he's a young guy, maybe like 18, and follows him just sort of navigating life. And paints a really heartbreakingly beautiful picture of India and just of the proximity of wealth and poverty. Yeah, it's a great book. Anybody out there is needing a book to try, highly recommend. I've been trying to read more. I'm not always great at holding myself accountable for reading very often, but I try to do it like a little bit every night before bed. Kind of helps my brain wind down.
Such a good practice.
Nothing like a little bit of postmodern art theory to put you to sleep. I'm mostly kidding about that. I do have quite a number of art theory and criticism books at home. My friends always tease me. Every year we go to the beach in June, and my beach books are always, like really nerdy essays and things of that sort. And they're like, why? This isn't a beach book. This is homework.
This is
like,
this
no,
is struggle
fun.
to read.
To me, it's fun.
That's all that matters.
Harriet gave us the date for the painting.
Ooh.
The Green Girl. She says, Royal Academy of Arts, 1891, by Harold Knight of Laura Johnson, who became Dame Laura Knight.
Nice.
And Daniela comments, tonight I'm painting with you, the red-haired girl. I am mainly using cadmium orange, viridian, and cobalt violet, white and black on paper prepared with acrylic gesso. Greetings from Italy.
Nice. Greetings back.
Oh, I miss Italy. Wish I could teleport there right now. Go eat some gnocchi.
Yeah.
I found a recipe that I might make for our little Halloween gathering. That is a pumpkin gnocchi. And
Oh, wow. Yeah, do that. Love that idea.
For anybody out there that doesn't know, I love cooking. Love, love, love it. Feel like the kitchen is like a second studio where you can go and relax when you're not in your studio. If anybody out there has the same love of cooking that I do. You want some recipes? I would love to give you some.
We have all been the beneficiaries of Evie's cooking, and it is incredible. So and we're having a Halloween party, and between Evie and Carmen, we're gonna have such amazing food.
Yeah, Carmen's a killer cook.
Yep.
And baker.
Oh
she
man,
made these
she could do
cupcakes
it all.
several months back that were
Dynamite,
life-changing.
right? They were dynamite, right?
Yeah,
So
and they
good.
were gluten-free. Like you would
All
never
the
guess.
things.
They were, you didn't miss anything. They were so good. They were, she used Biscoff, like cookie butter. Super yummy.
I want to know if anyone out there is actually trying to do the challenge, and I can't wait to see it on Discord. So post it on Discord, but I want to see if anyone's doing this style of challenge where you're taking the color relationship you have and changing the whole painting palette and see what it looks like.
We have passed the 2-hour mark. How are you both feeling about your paintings?
I'm actually really excited about it for the purpose of what I was trying to accomplish, which is trying to make it feel like a moonlit space. I'm happy with how it's turning out.
Yeah, I'm having fun. So definitely unlike anything I've ever attempted before. So, yeah, really cool challenge.
We have a comment from Ambarish. I'm from South India. If you ever make it here, my studio space is open to host you all and create together.
Oh,
Painting a self-portrait in the style of Rembrandt right now with a blue palette.
perfect.
That's awesome.
Can't wait to see it, and I would love to come visit.
Yeah, careful what you offer.
Might just take you up on that.
Evie's gonna hop on the next flight over.
Yeah, see ya in 20 hours. That is a long flight, let me tell you.
Wow, I can't imagine.
Well worth it though, for sure. When I flew over, gosh, where did we connect? I think we connected from Zurich, and I actually went into anaphylactic shock on the airplane. Fun story. Really not fun time. Thanks a lot, Lufthansa. Obviously I was okay, but yeah, we landed in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, and the culture shock that I experienced in that moment was so unlike anything that I had ever experienced before, in the most beautiful way. Definitely itching to travel. I think it's so important for artists to travel. When they can.
Yeah, I agree.
What are some of your favorite places you've been, Louis?
Ooh. Well, I mean, I lived in Italy for a while, and it's hard to beat Italy. But each one of my experiences has been so interesting and unique. You know, I loved Spain, but at the same time, I really enjoyed Germany too.
¿Hablas español?
Gosh, no, not a lot. Enough to know that I can say no.
Okay. Hey, you got that right.
So I took Spanish in high school, and then when I switched over to Italian, all of my Spanish went out the window. But I didn't live in Spain. It's just one of the places I visited, and the experience was great. But Germany, man, I didn't realize how much I would enjoy it there. The only thing I would say is, when you get used to the Italian cuisine, German food for me just didn't have the same the same appeal. Nothing against the Germans. They make wonderful food. It's just not the food I was used to.
It ain't Italian.
So, but to all my German friends, I had the most incredible experience, and I loved the country. It was so pretty. But I've also spent a decent amount of time in Belize, and that was a totally different experience. A lot of scuba diving and living on an island, and there's a part of me that loves the island life.
Spelunking in caves.
Spelunking in caves, getting completely overtaken by bats. It was a
Sounds
crazy
like a great
experience.
time.
Yes, actually it was.
Honestly, it kind of does sound like a great time.
It was so good. So it made for really great stories. We did some night hikes through the jungle, and some of those kind of experiences it's hard to beat. So really loved it.
That's awesome.
But once I started my career, traveling kind of stopped because it takes a lot of jet fuel to get the art career off the tarmac. So
Yep.
So I spent the next 10 years working on my art career and my other businesses, and so I had to stop traveling for a while. And I've traveled a bit for teaching. Went back to Italy and taught at Florence Studio, and I went to see my brother in Amsterdam, and took my wife to Paris and Amsterdam. She went with me, or met me after I taught, and we had a blast. And then I was going to go back to teach again, and COVID hit, and so I had to cancel my workshop. And that was the last major trip that my wife and I have taken.
Did you go to the Van Gogh Museum?
Yes, it was amazing.
I've always wanted to go there.
If you ever go, just make sure
I've
you
always
get
wanted
tickets
to go.
way in advance, because they sell out quick. It was the best advice somebody gave me, is to get the tickets early.
I feel like you and I always accidentally make really terrible puns. Isn't it technically pronounced golf?
Yes, I mean,
heard somebody
depending
say that
on,
before.
yeah. Depending on your nationality, I would assume this probably is the more correct pronunciation.
Evie, you did get a response. Most welcome in 20 hours. I grew up in Chennai, by the way.
No
Can
kidding.
totally relate to the culture shock, because I experienced the same thing when I went to Europe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I guess, depending on when you were born, I guess back then it was Madras rather than Chennai. When I got there, I had some of that history explained to me. The name change. That's so cool. Chennai is an incredible city. Let me tell you, I have so much respect for anybody who drives a vehicle in that city, because that is intimidating. You ain't seen traffic until you've been to India.
I bet.
It's like a whole different level.
right. Guess I need to give her a face.
My brushes fell on the floor and I didn't realize it.
Watch out for Rosie here. It's a thing.
Has she ever gone after your brushes before?
No. No, the only thing she likes is her toys and my socks. So if I'm trying to put my socks on, she'll try to grab them because she thinks I'm playing. But
So
aside from those two things, you know, she doesn't even really go for a lot of the other stuff that normal dogs go for. But we'll play with her toys every now and again, and she does love that.
We have a couple comments. Faye Kelly comments for what they're painting. They did Vermeer's Milkmaid in Hockney colors.
Cool.
And then Judith, for their painting, tried to mimic the painting using orange, violet, and green.
All right.
Nice.
Way to
It's
go,
like
everybody.
kind of similar to what I'm attempting.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see everybody's paintings. This is so cool.
Are you doing the head now, Lewis?
Mm-hmm. Getting it started at least.
Woohoo.
Finally.
Gotta leave the best for last.
Right. I always like to leave that carrot for me to get through the rest of the painting,
Like
if I can.
a treat?
Yes, like I always say, like the carrot at the at the end of the horse, so that he keeps moving forward.
Okay.
So it's like my reward at the end if I can get all the other stuff done. Then I get to put this in, you know. So that's kind of like,
The incentive.
yep, the incentive.
Just keep painting. Just keep painting.
That's it. she was mentioning earlier, she hadn't stepped back. I need to like step back here in a second. All of a sudden the whole thing is like, oh, it's completely off.
Oh no, I accidentally painted it upside down and I didn't even realize.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be impressive.
That would be pretty impressive. Skin tone and cool light. It's a fun challenge.
Tell me about it.
So the best way to approach it, I think, is to go ahead and paint a little bit of warmth into your painting and then use that warmth to then add a bit like what would have been the skin tone color and then shift it into the blue that's being influenced by the environment. So that I think that's the best approach for that, but making sure that my shadows still stay on the warm side because the warmth is coming from the shadows in this painting. So it's almost like the shadow side didn't change much. It's the light side that changed the most. So just pushing and pulling those darks around. Maybe make one little light dot for the ear there. Well, after 2 hours, I feel like this is starting to shape up.
It's looking good. I feel like it'd be hard for me to change the time of day of the painting just off of the top of my head. So I think you did a good job.
Definitely was a lot of fun to do. I love this challenge. I'm glad it's turning out, you know. Because it's one of those things where it's like, I haven't done this enough, I don't know. Maybe it won't turn out, who knows? And it is, so.
That's a good feeling. Evie, I like how you did the hair.
Thank you.
Your hair looks really good.
Yeah, I feel like struggling with this, but you know what? That's okay.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it, but it seems like it would be hard to get skin tones with those
Yeah.
color mixtures.
Yep.
But you're doing it. Doing it like a boss.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you.
Did any of y'all watch Hook growing up?
So good.
You're doing it, Peter. You're doing it.
I don't know that.
Oh, it's such a great movie.
You gotta watch it. That would be a good Halloween movie to watch.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Be great to go as the Captain Hook from Hook.
Gotta love Robin Williams.
Yeah, and forever I didn't know it was Dustin Hoffman who played Hook. I was like, what? When I found that out, because like as a kid, you're not worried, you're not thinking about the actor, you know.
Right.
And then later on, you make the connection, and you're like, what?
It's like, wait a minute.
Cove comments, thank you all so much for these live streams. I feel like you are all in my studio. The only thing better would be painting in person together.
Well, that should be the next thing you do.
Yeah.
Come hang out and paint in person with us.
Take a trip from BC.
That's right. Oh, I didn't put any color down here on this little part. All right, now the fun part now is I'm going to push the dappled light broken color relationships a little bit. Since we have a little more time, I can just push towards the last 30 minutes. I'm just going to go in and keep pushing all these like dappled light spots and creating some of these broken color moments I see happening. And like, you know, this is a color study, so it really doesn't matter, but I think it would be fun to do that in order for it to kind of have the same achievement, you know, since we're making it a different colored painting.
This is the first time I've ever attempted to do a painting without using white.
So proud of you, Evie.
Do you have regrets?
Don't say that yet, please. You haven't seen my painting yet.
I'm sure it's lovely.
Well, I'm learning, so you know what? In that way, it's going well.
Oh, I didn't put that little beam down there at the bottom. Let's put that in. Change it up, folks. Give yourself some chances to try something brand new. Face those fears.
James comments, still got a ways to go on my trumpeter. This palette is inspiring, which
Nice.
is Viridian, Cad Orange, Violet, Black, and White.
Nice.
And then Ambarish comments, well, I was born 5 years before they changed the name to Chennai in 96. Glad to have found this channel this week. Started the self-portrait I was putting off. Will share on Insta and tag.
Yay.
Good night.
Nice.
That's awesome. I
Have
can't
a
wait
good
to
night.
see it.
Yeah, have a good night.
Thank you for joining.
It must be so late there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
thanks for tuning in.
2:30 or something.
And, you know, to everybody living abroad, thanks for tuning in
Yep.
out of your
Absolutely.
time zone. Yeah.
See if I can add just a hint more blue. You heard it here, folks. Evie.
Anybody out there a chiropractor? Yeah, sorry if I don't know how much my mic is picking that up.
Oh, it's not
Very
bad.
well.
Oh,
Very well.
No,
I'm sorry,
it's not.
guys.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I just bet it is picking it up, but that's no big deal. So what, you know? I don't know, for some reason when I hear that sound, it's satisfying to me.
I was going to say that too. It's kind of like, it feels like stress relieving a little bit.
Yeah. Feels like I feel when I like pop something and I'm like, oh, that was amazing.
I know not everybody likes the sound though, but that's okay.
Honestly, I used to hate that sound when I was a kid growing
Really?
up. And yeah, my brother would crack his knuckles a lot. Ugh, freaked me out. But now,
I don't like to watch it happen, but I think the sound of it is not bad.
yeah, I think, I don't know, now as an adult that has a lot of musculoskeletal issues, I'm kind of just, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Louis has a pull-up bar installed in the next room, and we take turns like stretching on it.
Yeah, man. So nice. I hang on it. Well, I try to hang on it every day. Lately, I've been out of practice. But typically, I like to hang on it and do like a minute or two hang, which is hard. I heard a friend say that's what you should do, who's a physical therapist, and they're like, just do it for, if you can get up to 2 minutes, that would be really good. I'm like, okay, all right, that should be easy. I tried it. I was like, holy cow, this isn't easy.
Yeah.
This is hard.
Let's see, in 2021, I tore three different ligaments and a tendon in my foot and had to do a bunch of PT. And I was on crutches for, I'm gonna say like 6 months or so. And man, yeah, PT is not easy. I think it's underestimated by a lot of folks, myself included.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, it's easier to appreciate everything that our bodies can do if you've ever experienced what it's like when they don't work right.
Yep.
Put it that way. Very, very grateful for
Everything that is working.
everything that is working. Yeah. Even the things that don't always work, you know, my creaky knees and my messed up neck, still grateful for it.
That's a good attitude to have. Oh.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that, folks. I forgot to
Oh,
put
at
my
least it
phone-
wasn't one of the cameras, though.
No, that was me. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Sorry.
It's okay. What time we? 4:35.
We're in the final stretch.
Yes, we are.
Any specific thoughts as we move into wrapping things up?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say now is that I'm just working on trying to create some of the broken color harmonies that are in the sun version to exist in the moonlit version. So that's what I'm working on now, is to make sure that those relationships are happening in the way that makes it feel like a moonlit evening. So that's the main thing I'm working on now, is to make sure that those are there.
And at some point, I'm gonna have to stop fussing with the face and just accept it for what it is and try to lock in everything else. Oof. I am on the struggle bus.
It's okay, we've all been there. I feel like I can keep pushing the blue side of her dress. My favorite thing about doing these color studies is you get to get everything down pretty quickly, and then you get to like make sure that things are working, and then you can compare and push things and pull things. Whereas in bigger paintings, it just takes a lot more paint to do the same thing, and it can be a challenge.
I get that. I feel all my color studies fall into place so easily, and then I move to the bigger ones, and it's like,
What the heck happened?
what's going wrong?
Yeah, there's an interesting phenomenon for people out there who are interested in some of the science, that your eyes are made up of rod and cones on the retina, and your rods are your value, and the cones are your color receptors, and the color receptors are much less than your rods. And what often happens is our focal point has most of those cones in them. And so when we're working on small paintings, we can see the color better because it's like stepping back, but it's already small. We don't have to step back. And so because of that, it's easy for us to make good color studies, but then when we put it to the big painting, it's in our peripheral, like the whole painting is. And so it's really hard for us to gauge the color better because it's so big and it's actually taking up more of the rod side of our eyes than the cone.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So that's why it's a challenge for us when we like make a good harmonious color study, then we try to like put it to the big painting and how it just doesn't seem to have the same vibe.
So to remedy that,
Step back
step back.
a lot. That's the remedy. That is the remedy. dark note over here. Hopefully, this is making the illusion for people to be able to see. Feel like it's moony. I want so badly to do a night scene. It's on my list. Really hope everybody gets a chance to see it. Sometime in the future. It's on my ideas list. I already have a couple of thumbnails going on it.
Ah.
I need to
Let's see.
varnish my night scene.
That's right, you got a night scene.
I do. It's gonna be fun to varnish. Maybe I'll actually finally be able to get a good varnishing video. I feel like I see all these, artists online getting great varnishing videos, and then I try to do it, and just the angle is wrong. You can't really see it very well, and yeah. Maybe this time I'll finally get it right.
Some strategy going into it.
Yeah, I think in the past I've done it in front of a window. That hasn't worked well in my favor. So I think I'm gonna try doing it with a different light source this time. Cross my fingers that that works better.
Yeah, and you could set it up so that whatever the camera, the angle is seeing it at, pre-varnish, it's like the most sunken in you can make it look.
Right.
So that way, when you put the varnish on, it's like the most satisfying.
That's it.
Yeah, you want that yummy varnish moment.
Yes. Everything falls into place. Life again.
Keep running out of all my white.
I'm excited to see your painting once it's varnished, Evie.
This one? Or the other one?
No, the night one.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm excited to varnish that. And frame it. My frame for that arrived yesterday.
Ooh.
And I got a really, really gorgeous frame from Masterworks that I'm excited about.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, Tina saw me coming in yesterday, and I was like carrying this big frame box in one hand and like trying to balance my cup of coffee in the other without spilling it all over myself.
That takes
Shockingly.
skill.
Huh?
Said it takes skill.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't about taking 2 trips.
Yeah, exactly.
Not me.
I'm always like that with my groceries too. Like, my fiance always teases me because I'll just like load up all of my arms with all of the grocery bags to try to like get it all in one run. It's like, babe, why do you do this to yourself?
I get it. I wanted to do that last night. I sat there and I really thought about it, trying to strategize. How can I make this happen? But I had to accept that it was not possible.
I think it's a byproduct. My old apartment that I used to live in was on the top floor, and it was the apartment in the entire building that was furthest from any elevator. So like, for grocery shopping and carrying groceries, it's like perfectly horrendous. Because I have to walk like, crazy amount to get from my car to my front door. So I would just load up like all of my groceries so that I didn't have to make more than one trip. I just kind of still do that. Force a habit.
Well, I think it's a good habit. Living in New York, you got to get used to like just carrying as much as you can.
Sure.
So that just reminds me of back in the New York days.
Ye olde New York days.
Yes.
Do you miss New York?
I miss aspects of New York, yes. But the amount of things that I love about being here definitely counterbalances that. I don't ever think I'll want to live there again unless for some reason I won the lottery and could just enjoy all the good things that New York has to offer. Because you have to make a large sum to not feel like you're in the rat race and, just living paycheck to paycheck because of rent.
Yeah.
So, but no, there's too many things I love about down here that, I don't know, remind me of home. And, I'm a country boy at heart. I've lived in many cities and enjoy it. But I think at the end of the day, I've found that country lifestyle still, or at least the suburban lifestyle has been nice. For all the people who have criticisms of it, there's parts of it that I found to be good. Sustainability, at least.
If you could live anywhere, ideally, do you have like I would like to live there kind of place?
Well, I will say that when we chose Raleigh, we threw a map out on the table and said, okay, here's our opportunity to live wherever. And we did a lot of soul searching of what was valuable to us. And then we made a whole list, and then we started to find places that checked the boxes. And it's just at the time, Raleigh checked the most boxes. And so for that reason, I feel like I have chosen a place that if I could live anywhere, I would want to live here. The only difference is if I could have family here.
Well, your brother lives here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My brother lives here, and that part has made it wonderful. And one of my best friends from college lives here. And those two things have made it huge. It's been, and we've developed a community here. So all the people that we have here is really great.
Yeah, I remember when I first found out that East Oaks was here. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yep.
I think Erica and I have talked about that before. Erica and I are kind of like we're the local contingent, I guess,
Yep.
of East Oaks. And yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful place to live. But remember, when I first found out that y'all were here, I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, if you live in any place, you're disillusioned by its beauty or how well it's coming up to. Like sometimes just kind of like, why here?
Right.
But you live in a lot of places. You start realizing you kind of come full circle of what is valuable to you, and then you start realizing, those things that I thought were cool and novel aren't the thing that I actually value. And we love that we're near institutions. We love living. I could consider myself politically a moderate. And because of that, I feel like I wanted to be in sort of a melting pot area that had both ideologies. And we wanted there to be a museum close by. We wanted to be close to other institutions. And education institutions where the academia was a thing. We wanted to be a place that had an international airport that could make it easy for people to come in and out. And we wanted it to be on the East Coast for the purpose of it, having a lot of our collector base and art networks, both for artists and collectors were on the East Coast, so that part was nice. So yeah, there was a whole lot of reasons why we felt that it just felt right.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think growing up here, I think as a teenager I had a lot of disillusionment about living here, and it really wasn't until I was in my 20s and had spent several years living somewhere else that I realized, wow, this actually is a pretty great place to be.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really, exploded too,
Oh God, yeah. I mean, so I'm actually technically third generation to this area. My mom and my grandmother. My mom grew up here. My grandmother lives here, and the amount of change that they have witnessed in this area is just mind blowing.
Yeah.
My mom tells me stories about what this area used to look like in the 1970s, and I can't even fathom it.
Oh, I bet.
Just how much more vast the wooded areas used to be here locally. Back then, Cary didn't really exist.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely a different landscape.
Well, everyone,
So
we're on that note, we're starting to wrap it up. We're at the last 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping it up here. But thank you again for joining us. This was such a fun exercise, trying to change the whole feeling of a painting using a different color palette, a crazy color palette. Tomorrow, we are going to be we're going to be working with black and white. So take your favorite painting, turn it to black and white, and try to imagine the color in the painting. Landscape was a great way to do this. There's many famous painters who would do this. Thomas Moran would be one of them that comes to mind, who would actually go and paint black and white scenes, plein air, so that he could paint them quickly. And then he would take them back, and he actually appreciated imagining the color and making them very vibrant. So, so tomorrow, that's what we're going to be attempting. We're going to be attempting, you can use whatever color palette you want. This is not a limited color palette. You can make it a limited color palette. In some instances, it might help you choose colors better. Think about emphasis and all those things. So find something to use, bring it to the table. Show us what you've been working on in Discord today. We want to be a part of that conversation. By the way, all of this aside, this is something that everybody says, but I just want to go ahead and reiterate it. This is free for everyone. We've worked very, very hard to put this together. I'm trying to sacrifice a whole month to be able to put this together for y'all. I'm not asking for anything in return except maybe just a like that is free for you to do. All you have to do is click it, or the subscribe button, or the bell. Any of those and all of those. You've already done wonderful of making comments, but those things help so much in us reaching our audience. So I hope that y'all have done that. Do it to every video if you haven't yet. It helps in immense ways. So thank you again. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and have a fabulous evening and happy painting.
Bye, everybody. Thanks so much.